This tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank. The map is Prokhorovka. I am going to get 6,800 spotting damage in this game. This line of tanks, the AMX 1390 and the 1375 and 1357, is one of my favorite lines of tanks. This is one of my absolute favorite tanks to play in the game right now. I'm really looking forward to leveling it up to the AMX 13105. You can see that as I came out here, I could have taken the higher bush, but I decided to go deeper into enemy territory. And this position, you'd think that it's safe, but you do have to be careful because I'm deeper in enemy territory. The enemy usually thinks that I wouldn't be here, so they might try and scout this area out. So it's very dangerous. You got to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. You can see that we've got a lot of allied tanks on my side. And there we've got the first tank. Because I'm closer, I can spot the tanks more easily than if I had taken up the position in the E1 area. See, I've already gotten 1,400 spotting damage on those tanks. 1,900 spotting damage. So we've already softened them up a lot. My only wish is that we had been able to soften them up more. You can see that there's an enemy LTTB who is right there. He took some hits. He didn't spot me. I'm already up to 3,800 spotting damage. It's only been 2 minutes in the game. There's an UDES that showed up. You want to keep your gun pointed towards an enemy tank. If you have the crew skill designated target, it will keep that enemy lit for an additional 2 seconds. Got 4,400 spotting damage. Now the problem you have here is that it's going to be difficult to spot enemy tanks because I can't spot all the way to the red line from this position. I'd either have to move forward to a different bush or I would have to rush the field. The problem that I have is if I rush the field, my allies might still be out of range for hitting any tanks that I might spot. So you can see that I was spotted. I decided to rush the field to try and spot whatever I can. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm hoping my allies are going to take shots at anything that I find. You want to go all the way to the red line. The more you go to the red line, the more likely, the safer you are. So I got up to 6,800 spotting damage in this game. There might even be a little bit more. When you die, any tank that you spotted is going to be spotted for 8 to 10 seconds. So you still will get spotting damage even if you die. Okay, so that's the game. I just wanted to show you how I do it. Let's move on to the next video. This tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Cliff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get behind enemy lines. I'm going to flank them, and it's going to help my team win the game. Actually, I don't know if we're going to win the game. Well, let's see. We're going to do really good. Now, there's lots of ways to get behind the enemy, and you have to gauge the map, gauge what's going on, look for the right opportunity, look for the right opening, and then take advantage of it. And the enemy is going to leave a part of the map undefended, which is going to allow me to take advantage of that hole. Now you'll notice that I came to this position, and the reason why I came to this position is because you can snipe at the tanks. Look on the minimap. You can snipe at the tanks that are going across this gap over here, such as this Progetto. You just have to reverse a little bit to defend yourself. You fire a couple rounds with your autoloader, and you repeat. Unfortunately, he did hit me. Okay, so this position you can use to snipe on tanks that are over there. You do need your allies to spot for you. But what you're going to notice is that over here in this position, we have a Lorraine 40T, WZ-111, and a Leopard, also in various spotting positions and sniping positions. But what they're doing is they're showing that the enemy is not in this location. And that's a huge problem from the enemy, because there's a way that you can go around there, spot the enemy base, spot enemy tanks without being detected. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So when I saw that opening, I took advantage of it. Obviously, I do have to wait to reload. Looking for another gap to see if I can fire some more shots at these tanks. Got one more chance if we can spot that Conqueror, but he's outside of the spotting range. So I noticed that the enemy didn't come to this side of the map. And I'm going to ride through, and I'm going to spot the enemy base. Now, you notice where the Lorraine is? He's not in the ultimate perfect position. He really wants to be a little bit more to the left. You don't want to be proximity spotted by enemy tanks over here, but you want to be to the left. You want to take advantage of any bushes that are here. You want to be far away because your allies are doing the spotting and you're doing the sniping. So you want to be further to the left. I'm going to the left of him so he doesn't accidentally shoot me. Then I'm swinging back, wasn't spotted, and I pull into the spotting bush right over here and turn on those binocs. And look at that. I can spot that SU tank. The enemy SPG was killed. We got an STRV that I could shoot at him. I got 629 spotting damage, 890 spotting damage on this tank. He cannot hide. He thinks he's hiding, but he's not. There he is. He's out of the game. And if I want to, I could drive down this slope, go around this way and get behind the enemy, go around that way, get behind the enemy, rush all the way to the back, rush onto the enemy camp, whatever I want to do. You'll notice that I'm reloading my ammunition, which means I intend to fire my gun. As soon as I spotted that SPG, I stopped moving, even though it's in an awkward position. Now, I get the gun loaded on him because if I get spotted, I'm going to fire my gun. But ideally, I want one of my allies to take him out of the game. There it is. Obviously, I'm not loaded, so I can't fire anyway. But he was taken out of the game. I noticed in the stats above the map that he was taken out of the game. Now we got a Type 4 Heavy. So I got 2 damaging hits on the Type 4 Heavy. You notice I'm staying as far to the left as possible because I don't want to be spotted by that Sheridan. But I want to be able to shoot at him. I want to be able to shoot at his allies. I want to be able to keep him spotted. And he's in a position where he doesn't know what to do. The reason why I'm missing is because there is a little bit of a hill, and I need to be firing at his turret, and I'm aiming at his hull. So as I pulled forward, I noticed that he was in a hull down position, which is why I was missing my shots. And I decided to elevate my tank a little bit, but it's really irrelevant. Got to be very careful not to hit my allies. I believe he's a good player. I think that Sheridan is a good player. He just got himself stuck in a bad position. The score is 12-4. Now, this is a type of thing normally you'll hear me say, don't get on the enemy cap. There's obviously an exception. You get on the enemy cap when you want the enemy to return to their base. So that's why I'm getting on the cap. There's 2 enemy tanks out there far away. Now there's only one. In order for him to come back to the base, he has to drive through 6 allied tanks to get there. So there's a low chance of success for him to return to the base. So I'm going to sit here, keep that base running, keep him to think, oh, I got to go back and reset. There's no way I'm going to go out and, well, I could probably go out and kill him, but my allies are going to take care of him. And he's out of the game. So that was 1,200 damage, 1,300 spotting damage, and I got 2 kills, and you can see how I was able to help my team win the game, even though unfortunately it didn't give me a lot of damage or spotting damage, but the maneuver definitely works when you take advantage of it. This tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank. And the map is Mannerheim Line, which was previously known as Arctic region. I am going to get 3,800 spotting damage. If you watch my videos, you're going to notice that I'm taking a different route than I used to take. I'm trying to get into a spotting bush that is closer to the enemy, which is going to allow me to spot tanks that previously would have been out of my spotting range. I'm not taking a good route because I'm not good at playing this. That's the bush I was looking for, but I had trouble finding it because I haven't been playing this side very well. So I'm going into to this lower area, and we're going to have to use a different method to get these tanks, enemy tanks, spotted. Already got 1,000 spotting damage, but at least you can see the bush that I was looking for, and I have successfully made it there on other games. So one of the things we're going to want to do is we're going to proximity spot enemy tanks by getting close to these ridges. Luckily, I noticed this Challenger, let my allies take some shots at him. Maybe he'll think twice about coming after me, especially considering I'm an autoloader. Look for an escape route. Everything worked out really well for me. This is a time to consider a reload. I do have a target that I can shoot at, which is a T-49. I'd have to spot him first. You'll notice that he was aimed in my direction. Ow! Yeah, you don't want that. So I went for the reload. I'm taking a look around. This is a relatively safe position to park and to read the maps and to see what's going on. So I got the spotting damage that took that Su-152 out of the game. It's possible that my ally was pinging for the STRV and my ally wanted me to go spot him. I don't remember if that happened in this game or not. But you can see these tanks are going to be spotted very easily, and they're going to be taken out of the game. That Pershing is pinned down right now. Got to get him out as quickly as possible. We've spotted another tank, which is a Charioteer. I'm perfectly safe over here. They can't do anything about me unless there's an SPG directly in front of me. There would have to be an SPG in that area in order to be able to hit me. I've got 2,100 spotting damage. I'm going to roll up into this bush over here, see if I can get some coverage. Don't see anything. Hopefully my allies will hit him. Got to go for safety. Looking to hug that rock. Going to go back down the hill to avoid the enemy fire. So basically when I said hug that rock, if the T-49 had turned to the direction I just came from and I had been close to the rock, I would have had the best protection against him. He would not have been able to hit me. Up to 2,800 spotting damage. Just got a proximity spot, the STRV. I'm sure he'll be taken out of the game. There's a good spotting position right here. Able to spot the IS-3. So we've got a Pershing and an IS-3 and potentially an ELC and a Charioteer in the area. You notice that my team is not advancing in the north. It should be quite safe for them to advance, and they're not doing it. In the south, I would say not so much. It's going to be a little bit more dangerous for them in the south. I can only sit here forever spotting for my team. At some point, I'm going to have to go somewhere else and spot some enemy tanks. You want to go spot usually where the most targets are, or wherever you can clear out a flank to free up your allies. There is an SPG in front of me, so there he is. Got to be very wary of that SPG. He could easily take me out of the game. I'm up to 3,500 spotting damage and 1,400 damage. Got 1 kill, and the score is 7-3. Finally able to spot that SPG. And that's the game for me. I did 1,400 damage, 3,800 spotting damage. The score was 8-4. I'm sure we're going to win this game, and I got 1 kill. This tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Live Oaks. I am going to get 2,900 spotting damage and 2 kills, but what's good about this game is you're going to see some good tactics in this game that you can use as a light tank player when you're playing on maps such as Live Oaks. So normally what I try to do is I want to spot as many tanks going to city as I can. So this is one of the spotting bushes you can use right over here. You get a pretty good view, but you're going to miss the fast tanks that have already made it to town. And the other thing is, along the A row, the road is elevated, so tanks that have a low profile are going to be able to get to town if they're driving on the other side of that road. You can see we can already spot that Badger. One of the things that I do when I play this game is I check along the rail to see if any of the enemy tanks come to my side of the rail. And if they do come to my side of the rail, I see if I can take shots at them. Because the game is going a little slow, I'm going to go to spot the city to see if I can find any tanks in the city. Obviously, I found one, which is the STI. Now you notice that what I'm doing is I'm driving down this road, and I'm going to spot all the tanks. There they are. They just got spotted. So I'm going to pause the game. You can see we've got the Object 260, the ST1, and another ST1. And there is a structure over here, which is a water tower, which has a solid base. And if you slip between that gap, all the tanks that are over here behind you, once you get into this area, you're safe from these tanks. So you can go in and just spot everybody and then just drive away. And I didn't take any damage. I got hit, but no damage was taken. You're going to want to drive as far away as possible so that you're out of their spotting range. And remember that the SPG might be watching you. But now we know that there's 3 heavy tanks in that area, and it allows my team to make a more educated decision as to how to handle the game. Because I'm a fast tank, I can do a lot of proximity spotting where I can get a block away from those tanks and keep them spotted, and if they try to come after me, just run away. Now this is a spotting bush. The reason why this bush is good is because you can see the tanks that are coming down through this gap, and you can actually shoot at them even though there's some obstacles in the way, and you can monitor what's going through on this road. And you can shoot them ideally in the tail. If you shoot them in the tail, they're more likely to continue going. If you shoot them in the front, they're more likely to turn their guns and shoot at you. Based on the fact that I did not spot those tanks as I drove around through the town, my guess is that they're still in that area where they were initially spotted. We do have a Maushin coming in, and we've got 2 snipers, the T-30 and the Scorpion G, but they're unlikely to hit anything. If I go into the town right now, it would be pretty much me going in alone. Now, we've got a couple different strategies. One is we could go after that Badger. We got a lot of guns pointing towards the hill where the Badger is. We could go try and hunt down the enemy SPG. However, there's only 1 enemy SPG. If there were 3 enemy SPGs and you have an open run on the enemy SPGs, there's more rewards for going after the SPGs. You can see that we're fairly even. The enemy has covered more territory in the south. However, we're still holding up against them. We've got more allies heading north. The Jagdpanzer and the T-54 have left their midfield position and have headed north. One thing I could do is I could try to draw the enemy out of that position, which I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do in this game. But drawing them out just means going in and spotting them and pretending to be slow. Okay, here comes an ST-1. For those of you who are curious, the 1 is the Roman numeral 1. It's the letter I, but it represents the Roman numeral 1. So it would be called the ST-1. When you have a side scraper like that, you want to hit them with HE rounds. You're not going to do as much damage as you do with an AP round, but at least you can still do damage. The weaker side armor will take significant damage if you hit it with an HE round. You'll notice that I'm notifying my team that they should use HE rounds on the side of the STI, the ST-1. You'll also notice that one of the ST-1s has retreated back towards the base area, which is starting to give me ideas. We've got a lone tank going through an open field on the A row. I could go to the A5 area and I could snipe on the rear of that ST-1. The other thing I could do is I could go after the ST-1. Right there, nice shots. Looked like I had a ghost shell. And he didn't spot me. I don't think he spotted me. Maybe I was spotted, I wasn't paying attention. So when you do this type of a city tactic, I'm going to go after this ST-1. You don't want to be right next to him. You want to be far enough away that you can find a clear shot, but not close enough that you're going to be proximity spotted or that you can't run easily. I've played this game many times. What I could have done is I could have gone on the other side of this building, been closer to the ST-1, and it's more dangerous over there. So you want to be further away, like, for example, in this position, even if you got to knock some buildings down. You'll notice it's very easy for me to get away from him. And he shows little concern for me. The score is 8-2. We did win in the south. If you want to increase chance of starting the engine on fire, you want to hit the enemy tank on the axle in the middle of the tank in the rear. So the lower rear is where you're going to aim your shot. I did substantive testing on setting the engine on fire, and I found that that's the spot that increases the chance of doing it. Now, to make the final run in, the score is 10-2. I'm going to ride along the bushes over here. Use the bushes for cover. I was able to hit the track of that tank. The score is 12-2. There's still one tank that's unspotted. Probably going to proximity spot the STI. Well, you'll notice I took a chance that he was pointing his gun the other way, which was a really dumb idea because obviously I'm the only one spotted and he sees me coming in. He knows that I'm coming that way. But what I did was I timed my reload so that when I came around is about the time that I'm going to be reloaded. Although I only got one shot in. But I can make another run around. And you'll notice that this is the ST1 that left the city. He's not a very good player, you can tell by the way he's playing. And that's the game. I did 2,900 spotting damage, 1,600 damage, 2 kills, and the score was 15-2. This tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank. The map is Malinovka. I am going to get 2,600 spotting damage, but what's important is the technique that I'm going to use. This is going to be the first time that I'm trying this, but I'm going to show you a technique that you can use to get into the rear flank, to spot the enemy SPGs, to snipe at the enemy from behind. This is only testing, so I'm not going to do it properly, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it properly the next time. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm just doing a spotting run. I'm coming over here, look at all those tanks that I spotted. There was no threat to me. They didn't expect me to do it. They didn't shoot at me. They didn't fire me. They didn't see me coming. I was able to spot all those enemy tanks. The mistake that I made was that this is an encounter game, and I was kind of confusing it. I was confusing the spawn positions with a regular battle. I didn't realize how close they were to the A7 and A8 area. I thought I was going to be spotting them in a different sector. So then I used the low ground to go back to safety, and I'm coming in for a second spotting run. But watch the way I do it, and we're going to talk about what I did right and what I did wrong. Now, obviously, they spotted me was a pure stroke of luck that their light tank was going off in that direction. I did get 1,500 spotting damage. It was 1,100 on that first spotting run, and I got 400 on that light tank. This T-34, he's going to be out of the game. What he tried to do is complete failure. Now, because I'm spotted, I'm heading back toward safety, which is Allied territory, and I'm going to turn around, doing a handbrake turn. I'm going to go back to enemy territory. Now, we know where most of the enemy tanks are, and there's only a few out in the field, and there's going to be one SPG back there. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to rush behind enemy lines. What I should have done is, because this Progetto 46 was spotted, is wait for him to die, but I got a little bit cocky. And I was spotted. So now you see I'm rushing behind enemy lines. And what I'm doing is I'm going for the lowlands, but it's the wrong way to do it. And I'm going to explain to you the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to use this building to block these tanks from shooting at you. And the way you do it is when you come up over on this hill, you hang a sharp left to get behind this building. And then you start driving down the field. What's happening right here is I'm going in the wrong direction, which is going to allow those tanks behind me to take shots at me. Right now I'm looking for the lowland, but what I could have done was use that building. If you look on the mini-map, I have the pointer pointed to the building. You can use the mini-map to use the building to block those shots. So I took one shot from the SPG. I'm staying in the lowland. You'll see that the people up on the hill haven't hit me even once. There's a T-32 that hit me. I was able to make it all the way to the back. Took him out of the game. You can see that the enemy is chasing after me. And I was able to get 2,600 spotting damage. Now, the point of this game is that I am testing the tactic and the technique to use to get to this position. I'm going to show you, this is the first time I did it. I'm going to try it again in the future. I'm going to tell you right now that if you wait a little bit longer into the game, like more time elapsed, you're going to have higher chance of success. And if there's more SPGs, you're going to have a higher chance of success because more SPGs means less enemy tanks. Okay, let's move on to the next video. This tank is the AMX 1390. This is a French Tier 9 light tank, and the map is Fisherman's Bay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head for the east side. I'm going to look for a nice position to spot enemy tanks from. And hopefully we're going to see enemy tanks in the midfield, and hopefully we're going to spot enemy tanks on their way to town. Now, one thing that I've noticed since this map has been redesigned is that the enemy tanks, particularly in the north, they really don't like to go to town anymore. I have too many games where tanks don't go to town. And there's a lot more tanks that are playing on the west side if they're heavy tanks or playing in the midfield. Now you can say this is a decent location. You can spot almost all the way to the red line, but it is possible to get through. You might want to knock that truck down in the future before you settle in for a spotting position. But the other thing that you can do is you can fire at tanks in the midfield if you want to and keep them spotted. So you can see that what I'm doing is I'm trying to go and get behind the enemy lines. Because I was spotted, they know that I'm going in this direction. You definitely want to kill or destroy any tanks that you can along the way before you get there. Such as that one right there. You don't have to wait till you get all the way there. If you see a tank that's vulnerable, take them out of the game. So I did spot a Type 4 Heavy, and I decided that I didn't want to engage him in combat. So you'll notice that right here is another interesting spotting position. You can sit in these bushes, spot a lot of tanks, and keep track of them for your team, which might be in a better position behind you. You can see there is a Type 4 Heavy right next to me here, who I'm running away from. Now, right now, the enemy knows where I am because I am a spotted tank, so I do have to be careful. I only got 710 spotting damage. You can see I'm advancing to a new location that's a little bit closer to the enemy. They're not going to expect me to be here. Watching the enemy to see where he's going. If he's going too far away, then I'm going to advance when he's as far away as possible, watching him on the minimap. If he's going further away from me, then I can advance. So obviously I ran into a big problem in that the RU-251 had snuck behind me, and he's on full health. Now I'm obviously going to go into the buildings as much as possible. The more I'm in the buildings, the safer it is for me, being surrounded by solid objects. You can see the RU-251 ran away. The Type 4 Heavy is pretty much a one-shot. I noticed that there was an STRV, so I changed to the direction that I was driving. So as I was driving away, I was checking up on where the enemy tanks were, make sure I'd be able to make a clean getaway, because I only have 32 hit points. Trying to keep buildings between me and the enemy, because I was just spotted.
Now you'll notice that the enemy tanks are not spotted. It's pretty much my responsibility to spot those tanks. So I'm looking for a way to spot them for my team. Unfortunately, I don't have a clear shot on him, so I won't be able to do anything. But I can advance forward a little bit more. The score is 5-2. We're having a winning game, and I do have 1,700 spotting damage. One thing, okay, that tank's out of the game. I don't know if the Maushin did it, but if he had loaded a high explosive round, it would have been better for him. Because I only have 32 hit points, I am going to stay a little bit more in the background as opposed to being on the front lines. And I'm going to have to stay hidden, basically, is what I'm doing. Doing whatever it takes to stay hidden keeps my gun in the game, and I'm going to have to spot less often. The score is 8-2, so we are probably going to win this game. But surely if I get spotted, I'll be taken out of the game. You can see by looking at the minimap that there's 3 tanks spotted, plus 2 SPGs, plus 1 more tank that has not been spotted yet, which appears to be a tank destroyer. And there he is. That was the last unspotted tank. I don't count the SPGs, but they've just both been spotted. Okay, so there's only 3 tanks left in the game. I'm going to fast forward. And that's the game.